She's loading the kit up. I'm getting ready to leave. She didn't make me any sandwiches. No sandwiches. We're surviving on our own, boys and girls. There's no sandwiches. Squirrel at like 20 yards with my crossbow. So we all want to know what's wrong with me, right? Right. I just want to talk about some EDC today. My fire went out last night. Okay, so we are stealth camping, and I brought minimal gear. We're not supposed to have any rain, so, well, I brought fairly minimal gear. I could have brought lighter gear, but it just happened that way. So, first thing I got to do before anything else right now, since I got a line in the water, I already got one small perch that's big enough for bait for catfish. So I got one line in the water. I need to get my firewood round up for tonight, and then I need to get my shelter put up. Yep. Okay, so gear-wise, what did I bring with me? I've got my possibles. I brought my Uberleben, a small spatula, and my small skillet. Whiskey time. My survivor filter and water bag. My leather gloves. My thinking book. My cook cup. It's got coffee and a sterno can in it. I brought my lantern since I'm going to be doing some catfishing. Camp towel and hand soap, because with my disability I have to stay clean, so it's just a have to. I do have my med kit, which is my catheter supply, and my first aid kit. This is all I brought for shelter this time, is my military poncho. My Rhino Tough sleep pad, my tomahawk, my folding saw, and then I have my fishing gear. have a line over here set trying to catch perch because they taste good and they make good bait. And because I need to catch fish, like, all I have for meat is a chicken packet and a box of rice and then cornmeal, and that's it. So caught a nice channel catfish. Not a bad little cat. Yeah, I put my gloves on because the last one got me when I was putting it on the stringer. So I'm already 2 catfish and a perch ahead, which gives me breakfast and lunch for tomorrow, possibly dinner. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to eat. See you guys in the morning. Oh, good morning, everybody. It is about 7:15. And I was up until 3:30, 4 o'clock because of coons. They were just back here raising hell all night long. My beautiful view this morning. So once coffee's done, we're going to stay here and fish for a little bit. And then we will go find the cove that I came out here to find. We are now officially off for the day. And then, yeah, something crazy last night. I didn't get it on camera because as soon as I turned the camera on, they quit doing it. But there was a bunch of shots going off, like right across the lake from where I was camped at last night. Like 1:30 in the morning. And it wasn't just a 22 or a 9mm. It was some kind of fair-sized rifle. Yeah, we're going to be heading into the wind a lot today. I think I'm going to call my kayak Pony Boy. Because that's just funny. But it is kind of my pony. I mean, it's been letting me get out and adventure more. I can definitely kayak a lot farther than I can hike. Oh, maybe I need to get over here into the shade and check my mat to see exactly where I'm at. compared to where I think I need to go. Because if I'm going to have to fight a headwind all day, we might just head down there. I had to get over in the shade for a little bit. It's only supposed to be like 10-mile-an-hour winds today, but they're a little rough. And even with the wind, that sun is hot. My neck is doing that pinching thing. Oh, it's only like 10:20. So I've only been on the water for about a half an hour. But even with going across the lake and then coming back over into this cove to take a little break, and the wind's still pushing me. I thought I was out of it enough. It's just hard paddling today. Yeah, I don't eat breakfast until like 11 o'clock in the morning anyways, and it's just now 1. And I'm only 2 coves into the second lake already. The wind is just, when I checked the forecast, it wasn't supposed to be any higher than 10 miles an hour. It is just ripping across that lake. It's hard to make progress. I mean, I'm on the big lake, so the wind ripping through there has got some good swells going on. I've had a few of them come up over the front of the kayak. So I'm fighting through swells, I'm fighting through the wind, and I'm fighting boat traffic. Because for a Wednesday morning and afternoon, there is a ton of boats on the lake. I'm sure you guys can hear some of them in the background. So yeah, I didn't eat breakfast this morning. That's probably why I'm so wore out right now. So I'm going to sit down, use the sterno can to heat up my oatmeal. Going to sit here and eat and let that kick in. And I'm trying to make the decision if it's... I'm still like 2 miles away, following the shoreline. I'm like 2 miles away from the cove I want to get to. But I've come from the other end of Westbranch. Like this is the little tiny cove that I'm sitting on the edge of. There's the cove coming off of the main lake. The main lake is that way. Probably would have done me better to make some Johnny cakes, huh? Coffee. It's almost 2 o'clock now. Oh, I'm procrastinating. hoping that boats start getting off of the lake so I can make the paddling back easier. My neck is really pinching up. Beavers have been chewing that tree. Right here's their little slide. There's another one back up in here, this leaning one they've been chewing on. And right there is the beaver lodge. That's a really good sized lodge too. It looks like they've also been under the bank into there. Yep, because there's a slide right beside those little trees. So a while ago I lost a bobber in this lake that was like a catfishing style bobber. You put the glow stick in the top of them. Well, I lost one, and yeah, never got it back. Well, this isn't the one that I lost, but look what I just found floating along the shoreline. Catfishing style bobber with a glow stick. That's awesome. I'm just finding all kinds of treasures in these little coves today. No brand name, but shallow diver flatbill. When you see stumps like these that are off at a point, it's because beaver are chewing on them. I know that one's hard to see, but beaver knocked that down. There's another one. What's up, everybody? So, yeah, I'm back home. I did not find the cove that I was trying to find while I was out there this time. Once I pulled out of the last cove that I made it to, between boat traffic and wind, there was like 3-foot swells. I did not run my camera because I had to have my focus on the water and not on a camera. Regardless if that would have been a GoPro attached to my head or in my camera mount, I needed to have my focus on the water because that was just all new ground to me, and I'm in a little 10-foot kayak. So I paddled something like 9 miles. When I was closing out my tracker for the day, I did not save it. So we're going to open up the Hunt Stand app and I will show you guys where I paddled, and then the next time we go back out where I'm going to start from, and see if it'll put me closer. So yeah, we'll talk about that as I'm going. Alright, we are going to blow this up quite a bit. I'm using the Hunt Stand app. So let's open up our measuring tool. So I started at this is a boat launch. So I started there, and I'm not even going to go, well, here's what I did on the first night. And my mom and her boyfriend wanted to play with their new canoe, so they came out with me and just paddled to where I was camping for the night. Now, I did not check these coves on the way because I've been in them, so I know that they're not the one that I was looking for. But also, I was like rushed to get to camp that night. And this is where camp is at. It's right here. 1.63 miles the first night. So the first night was 1.63 miles to camp. So then we'll start from camp. We'll come into this cove and check it out because I've not been in this one yet. And this is not where I was looking for. So, come back out. Now, once I hit the edge of this point is when I hit the headwind that was going to be hitting the lake almost all day. So, even though I know that these coves are not what I was looking for, I started getting into the coves and hugging the shorelines because the wind was just forecasted to be 5 to 10, and it felt like it was ripping through there at like 15. Now up here there's really not much to go for cover from the wind. Okay, and then at this point we go under the bridge. Coming through that bridge was just that was a nightmare. That bridge was nothing but a big wind tunnel. Okay, so at this point, once I cross under this bridge, I'm just getting hammered by headwinds coming this way. And I mean, they're hitting me 10 to 15 mile an hour. It's solid wind. There's no like gusts and there's no breaks in it. So back to hugging the shoreline. Now, this is the cove where me and the huntsman was fishing in when we did our collab video. So I knew that that wasn't the cove I was looking for. So I continue to hug the shoreline. And it's about 10:30 by the time I get up to here. So the lake is starting to fill up with boat traffic. And this is a no horsepower limit lake, so there's speed boats and ski boats and boats pulling tubers. So I'm getting hammered by the waves, I'm getting hammered by the wind. It is just rough paddle in progress. So once I get into this first cove, I pulled over and took a break for about 15-20 minutes. Got my wind back and came back out. It was not the cove I was looking for either. So, back out into the lake getting hammered. Follow these coves in. Oh. Follow, follow, follow. Follow some more. I'll tell you, the hardest part of this paddle was right when I hit this point, when I got past this point. Because like up to there, you've got a fairly, I mean, there's a break for the wind. You're still getting solid wind out here. But once I got past this point, it was just total, I mean, a wreck. That was some of the hardest paddling I've done so far. And then the boat traffic on top of it, because right now you're getting up to about, oh, I want to say it was almost noon. Get into this cove. That's not what I was looking for. So we came back out. And then this is the last cove that I ended in. because look how deep this cove goes back. And then there's a little creek that comes out. So this is where I made it to, and then once I was coming back out, that injury in my neck started to flare up. Because, I mean, paddling against the wind and the waves and the boat traffic, it was just a hellacious paddle. I was wore out and beat down. So at this point, I headed back. As of right now, we're at 6.12 miles. And it took me until about, let me think here. It took me until about 2:30, 3 o'clock to get to the back of this cove. So now that I've got the wind in my favor to my back, I quit worrying so much about the waves because I knew I was heading home. So whatever was going to get swamped and wet was going to get swamped and wet. And I just started riding the wind home. So I quit hugging the shoreline for the most part. But I was staying out away from the middle of the lake because of boat traffic. So at this point, we're just kind of hopping our way back. And I didn't have to do, the wind was blowing so hard, I didn't have to do much paddling either. Pretty much just steering. Okay, now I had about an hour to kill before my wife got there, so I did a little loop around this island. Which there's a lot of trees that have fallen in right through here, so that's kind of tricky to navigate. And then ended waiting there on my wife. So I ended that total paddle that day with 8.74 miles. And I did not find the cove that I sought out to find. So let's clear the map. And I think the cove that I was looking for was the next one over. So if I'd have just went maybe another quarter mile, I think I'd have been in the cove I was looking for, because I think it's this one. So the next time I go, there's a boat launch somewhere in this part of the state park, and I'm just going to come around this bend and come in. Now, if it's not that cove, this lake is just loaded with them. But heat and timing, my neck was just pinched that day, so I took it fairly easy. And that's what, I'm tired. That was a long 24 hours. Alright. I will talk to you guys on the next one. And remember, find your way.